Let's go.
What up, baby?
What's up?
This is Unpolished Thoughts. We've got Mr. Zack Cox here, Mr. Eric Martin, Mr. Ben Landers, and this guy. And we're just going to let Zack kind of tell his story and get some inspiration and motivation from him. And
Let's do it.
let's kind of do some learning. Start things off, we try to ask our guests a couple questions. Favorite gun, favorite drink. Doesn't have to be alcoholic, just favorite drink. And then I'm going to add favorite book to that list.
Okay.
So, fire away.
All right. So favorite drink is water. Recovered alcoholic. So this is my drink of choice now. Used to be whiskey, and I got most likely to get in a bar fight with my fraternity. So there's a reason I don't drink anymore. What was the other one? So favorite drink.
Favorite gun.
Favorite gun. I love my 9mm. It's fun to shoot. 270 if I'm hunting. I like them all.
Yep, love it.
And then
Favorite book.
The Power of Your Subconscious Mind.
Ooh, okay.
One of my favorites.
Who's that by?
I would butcher it. I don't know.
The Power of Your Subconscious Mind?
Yes.
Perfect. There we go. Boom. Joseph Murphy. I'm going to add that to my list.
Solid book.
Cool. I like it. Since we haven't done this before, Eric, favorite book?
Tuesday the morning.
Tuesday the morning?
Tuesdays with Morgan.
Tuesdays with Maury.
Okay.
Mitch album.
Cool.
It's a professor who's pretty much, he's got limited days to live, and is, I guess it would be like his grad assistant, is very confused about why he's happy he's going to die. And he just goes through that, he's done what he needs to do in life. And
That's beautiful.
Okay.
They meet every
that.
every Tuesday. It's like a journal of their meetings.
Okay. I love that. I'll definitely look.
Well, let's talk on that. Like, what is he? Are you happy enough to die right now? Are you living your life like that? I feel like I am at this point in my life. I'm 40.
So we butted on that last week.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yeah, we kind of talked almost exactly
There
like
was
that.
like an Instagram reel that's been going around, like if you're sitting at a bar, or sitting like in your car, and death walks in or jumps in the passenger seat and is like, "Hey, bud,
This is it.
this is the guy.
Yeah.
So you cool with this?" And we kind of talked about, and like now that I have a very young child, that puts a whole different perspective on things. Kind of like I was telling Jeffrey, like one of my goals is to at least see my kid have a kid. Kind of like one of those things of see her have a family, and then that life is pretty fulfilled at that point in time.
I think the important thing, so I've got 19, 18, and 8. And I will tell you as a young dad, I think the important thing is to live every moment so that you can, if your life is taken from you, that you did everything you could up until that point.
Yeah.
So my son is 8 now, Slade. And from the time he could walk, I've always focused on treating him like a man, teaching him how to be a good human. And so I know that if I died today, that he would be okay. At 8 years old, I know that in my heart. So do I want to watch him have children, and do I want to grow old and have grandbabies and all that? Yes, of course. But I think living in the moment for me has been a really sharp focus of mine. And part of that is every second you have with your children, you cherish every fucking second.
Yeah.
So my older two are my stepchildren. They're my babies, though. Jaden and Austin, they're 19 and 18 now. And you always hear, my parents always told me growing up, just cherish those young moments, They were 6 and 7 when I met them, and now they're adults. And it just, like I'm telling you, it flies by so quick.
Yeah, it does. 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Slade was that not long ago, and I was just like, I could hold my arm, and now he's, doing workouts with me, screaming on his motorcycle.
shooting
It's quick, man. It's so quick, but it's such a beautiful thing too, man. Just being a dad is such a cool experience. And it is whatever you decide it's going to be. You hold the fucking pen. That's what I keep telling everybody about their lives. You hold the fucking pen, and you're going to be a mediocre dad if that's what you decide. You're going to be a disconnected dad if that's what you decide, or you're going to be a badass motherfucker that your kids worship. And that, somebody that they want to become. And that's kind of the whole goal of parenting in my eyes.
Yeah.
For sure. Definitely. Love it. Benjamin, favorite book?
I've been thinking about that. I don't know if I know what my favorite one is, but one that I keep going back to is the Book of Five Rings.
Oh, yeah. I haven't read the whole thing.
Pretty good. It's by Miyamoto Musashi.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, he was this like old Japanese kind of like samurai type warrior guy. Kind of butchering that probably, but he was like known to win the most battles like in one-on-one combat.
It was like 60 something, wasn't it?
It was over that. It was like over 100.
Oh, wasn't it?
Yeah, and but the whole book, what it's about, is so he was renowned and known as this great warrior. But he was saying, yeah, it's one thing that I do, but it was all about finding balance in life. So be like a good carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was like a good merchant, like all these different things. Right?
Poet,
so,
even.
Yeah, and just like with each one, like the different qualities that you have to display to be proficient at different parts of life. But that by doing that, you find total balance. So he was known for one thing, but he's like, I became very good at all these other things while I was doing that.
Well, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. My favorite book is Neverwhere by Neil Gaiman. It's the only fiction book out of everybody's. Again, that's one that I read it several times every year, just because it's very like whimsical, and so it gives me like a childlike feeling almost.
Yeah.
But then it's also like I see myself a lot in this character because he's like this just average person who gets goes on the hero's journey.
Yeah.
He's thrown into this journey that he didn't really want to go on to, but now he's forced into it.
Yeah.
Now he's forced to not be this regular Joe Schmo who's, he's at this point, he's dating this woman who's just like ruling his life, and he's just like settling with her, and she's just like telling him exactly what to do. And that was me in a previous relationship. It was just like, I was not the boss. I was just, okay, yep. I was like, she even like picked out my wardrobe, and I was just like, yep, do whatever. And I was just like such a slave.
Right.
And I was like, that is not what I want to be.
Right.
And it's just so seeing him overcome all these obstacles that he didn't believe that he could go through, and yet he was doing it continuously. I've definitely seen that in myself. Like, I was never going to run.
Yeah.
At all.
Yeah.
And here I ran, 6, 2, and then another 3.
Yeah. In a week.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Never would have done that.
Yeah. It goes back to you write your own story.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. So those are our books. Everybody check those out because they're all awesome, I'm sure. So Zach, you had a few things that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess really the biggest thing right now that I'm like leaning into is connecting to source.
Mm.
And so when I say connecting to source, what does that mean to you guys?
Just figuring out where, I guess if I had to interpret it, my brain would be the things you're doing, figuring out where exactly they're coming from.
Okay.
Actually the actual purpose of why you're doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So source in my eyes is God, or the energy that exists in everything. And so I heard this analogy the other day. I hope I don't butcher it. Let me try. So as men, we go after things in life. Okay. We go after the perfect marriage. We go after the cars, the job, all these things. And we live in this like grasping mentality where we try to reach for things and we try to hold on to them once we get them. And it's really no way to live. So if you think of source as the infinite energy of the universe, and we all have the ability to tap into this. You can call it God, you can call it source, you can call it spirit, whatever you want to call it, but it's all inside of us. And if we can tap into that source instead of going after things in this world, and if you think of the analogy of a white light shining through a prism, what does that do?
Makes different colors.
Makes different colors. So you got blue, you got yellow, so all these colors are all the things that we as men go after. We go after the pink, we go after the yellow. This is the wife, this is the car, the beautiful family, all the things that we go after. But if you're going after the individual colors, it's just an illusion, right? But if you go to the white light that shines into the prism, to source, and you connect your soul to source, now you have the ability to acquire everything, all the colors. And so it takes you out of the grasping mentality. And it teaches me that if I just connect with my spirit self and to the infinite love, infinite energy that is abundant in all of us. Like you lose sight of that. We get fogged down with, all the things in our life, the bills and all the headaches and the internal dialogue in your own mind, and you lose sight of that spiritual connection. And so in my life, I was raised Southern Baptist. I became an atheist. I became an agnostic. And then it wasn't until I found my version of spirituality that I've truly found peace.
Good job, Ding Dong.
Like I said, we're professionals.
Yeah, no.
Somebody did that.
Break your train of thought. That makes total sense about if you're, seeking the effect as opposed to the cause.
Yeah.
I love that analogy because it's like all those things, sure, they're spread out. And it almost like the more that you reach for them, like the prism, it spreads out. So you're trying to grab, the more that you try, the further out they get. Whereas if you're focusing towards this one thing, the source, the infinite, if you can harness that, doesn't matter how far away those are, you've got them.
And you can have everything.
You only got 100%.
Yeah.
So like if you
give 100% to yellow or 100% to red, you're missing all the things.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the warrior that fought 100 battles, and like that's what he was known for, was fighting. But he brought it back to, you have to be good at everything.
Right.
And I think truly understanding yourself and understanding that you are infinite in love and abundance and all the things. If you truly understand that, then you are limitless in your abilities. And so just to give a little bit of backstory on me, for those of you that are watching that might not know me, I was brought up in a good home. Parents still married today. Good Christian home. Went off and I took my first morphine sulfate pill when I was 14 years old, and chased that dragon until I was 32 years of age. So through college, I became a really bad alcoholic, pill addict. Got on meth really bad, and got sober March 3rd, 2017. So coming up on 8 years. And when I got sober, I decided to burn my fucking boat. And I decided that I'm not just going to be sober, Zach, because that's where a lot of us addicts hang our hat at the end of the day. Like, we're sober, we're good. Mm-hmm. I wanted to chase every version of me that I possibly could. And so I woke up every day and I said, I'm going to be the baddest motherfucker on the planet. Whatever that is for me. Like, I'm just a regular dude, but whatever that looks like for me, I'm going to chase it. And it's been almost 8 years and I haven't stopped. And I found my purpose in life about a year into my sobriety. I had all these people pouring into me and like helping me get better. And then I realized that I had the ability to do that for other people. And so that's kind of when I started my coaching thing. And I've coached a lot of men over the years. And that's where I find my purpose and my place in this world, is just helping people find their best self and be their best self, and be the best husband, father, businessman, whatever it is you're going after. You have the ability to do anything you set your mind to. And so my mission on this planet is to be the best human I can be, but also to inspire other people to do the same thing.
Yeah,
I love that.
Is that what you do full time?
No, I'm in medical sales.
Okay.
I work for a lab out of Atlanta. I've been with them for 6 years now. I'm the regional sales director for them. So I run a territory. I manage reps in Indiana, Colorado, a few other states. I cover Arkansas and Missouri, so I do that full time. I do real estate investing. I got my hands in a few other things as well. So.
Cool. So you're not a busy man.
I know I'm not a busy man. But the thing is, I do not feel overwhelmed. I do not feel stretched thin. And I did for a long time because I was in that grasping mentality. Mm-hmm. I was going after that goal. I was going after that commission check. I was, trying to make my wife as happy as I could. I was trying to connect with my children. And it was just, I would focus on one thing and I would do it really good. But at the same time, other areas of my life are suffering.
Right.
And I was like, well, this isn't the answer. This is not it. Because I know I'm capable of more. Because I see other humans that are. So what are they doing? Right. I always try to, I am a coach, but I don't think of myself as a coach. I'm thinking of myself as a constant student, a constant learner. So I would look to people that have done things better than I have. And I said, what are they doing different? And it's when I connected to my spiritual self, to my infinite self, that I realized that I can do anything. Like I really can do anything I set my mind to.
Mm-hmm.
So,
like you said, most men, I think our podcast mostly focuses on men, so we're going to talk about men. Most men, like you said, are in that grasping state, and I think that's a natural way is that, you find a goal and work towards it. How do we turn, or maybe not turn around, but step back to where we're not trying to handle all these different, these different lights, and we're stepping back, and now we're focusing on this one thing. What's some ways to?
Yeah, so I think first of all, there's nothing wrong with wanting all those things.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's natural. We want to be providers. We want to be the best husbands and fathers and have all the things for our family. So there's nothing wrong with wanting worldly things. I would say that the best advice for somebody that's in that state to find a new way of doing things is just to look within, because everything that you're seeking through external validation, and we all do that, like to a point that it paralyzes at times.
Mm-hmm.
If you stop getting your validation externally and instead go internal, like everything that you want is inside of you, like everything. It's a hard concept to grasp. But if you can, I spent years of my life with, monkey mind and civil war of mind. I was like the worst person in the world of myself, just constantly tearing myself down, telling myself I wasn't good enough. The goal that I just hit was great, but I can do something, never enough, never enough, never enough. And until I silence those voices through meditation, through, my view of the spiritual world, once I did that, then everything just made sense. So I think the first thing that you do is just say, okay, what I'm doing is not malicious. There's nothing wrong with going after things in this world, but how can I do it more efficiently? And the answer to that is turn inside, look inside.
So I had a question about that. Kind of when you were going through this process, like looking inside and everything, were there a lot of growing pains when you made that shift?
Yeah, no, this has been an 8-year process.
Okay.
Man, I can.
And if so, kind of like what were those growing pains? Like what were some of the most
like roadblocks?
Yeah, the hardest ones that you kind of got through, where you kind of had to maybe go back to the drawing board, refocus, things like that.
Yeah, so there's a million just popped in my head, so it's hard for me to select which ones are most worthy of the answer. But external validation was really hard for me to overcome. I think I spent the majority of my life seeking external validation from that young age, and I think that's one of the reasons why I went down the pill and alcohol addiction, is because I could never actually get everything that I needed. It was always I need more. So I don't know if there was any one event. And it's like I woke up March 3rd, 2017, and decided I was going to change my life. I was fat. I was addicted to more chemicals than I can list, benzos, uppers, downers, all the things. But I went out in my driveway, and I actually surrounded myself with some really incredible humans that held me accountable. And I just started doing the work. It's all about just doing the work and putting yourself out there. And every day I would do something really hard. And it would give me the same gratification that a pill or a drink would give me. And so on my 1-year sobriety date, I ran a marathon. I didn't think that was possible. So I'm running this marathon on my 1 year, and I'm just crying like this whole time. And I get to mile 20, and an old lady's like passing me. She's like 85 years old. And she looks over, and she's just like got this big smile on her face. She's in a fucking neon jacket.
Hell yeah.
Just cruising. And she's like, she looks over and she says, "Hey, you're doing good, just one step at a time." And she had no idea she was talking to a recovered addict. And it was such a beautiful thing for me in that moment, because I was like she doesn't understand the magnitude of that statement. And I've carried that with me for 8 years or 7 years since then. And it just made me apply that to life. Nobody has a playbook of how to do this shit. You just figure it out as you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just said one step at a time. It doesn't matter what I'm doing, whether I'm creating a new business, whether I'm coaching somebody. And when I got into coaching, I barely knew who the fuck I was. But I realized that I was inspiring some people. And I did not, and other people had done that for me. And I would be dead or in prison if it wasn't for those people. And so I realized that I had to do this. To answer your question, I think whenever I started coaching people was when it all changed for me.
Yeah.
You know, because I realized that it's not about me. It's about the collective, all of us. And the most peace that I found, the most fulfillment that I found in life has been whenever I could share that love, share that, that source energy, share that inspiration with other people. And then you're not helping one person out. I'm not helping. I just celebrated 30 days of sobriety with a good friend of mine that came to me about a month ago. Horrible addiction. But I'm not helping this single man change his life. I'm helping him. I'm helping his children. I'm helping his wife. I'm helping his parents. And the ripple effect that we can have, each one of us can have, is, you can change the fucking world. You can change the fucking world. And that's what people don't realize. We limit ourselves. We make ourselves so small that we got to go to work and do this so we can pay this bill and do that. But it's way more than that. And you're way more capable than you realize. And if you can change one life at a time, then you're changing this whole ocean of people. And you do that, and you do that again, do that again. And all of a sudden, we've got a different society. We've got men that are actually men. Stand up and, carry yourself well and take care of business. And, raise our children to be badass humans.
Did you notice it was really hard? So I imagine, coming through your fraternity, coming through college, kind of sounds like you're probably like party guy.
Yeah.
I think you were like the guy.
That was me.
Like people looked at like, hey,
100%.
Where's Zach at?
Yeah. Through every party.
You can't have a good time unless Zach's here.
Yeah.
So when you made that switch over, how hard was it to that next Friday night when your phone rang, like, hey dude, where are you at?
Well, I did two things. Number one, I deleted every number that I looked in the mirror one day and I said, from this point forward, if the activity, if the phone call, if the interaction does not make Zack Cox the baddest motherfucker on the planet, I'm no longer going to give it any of my energy. So I deleted 300 numbers out of my phone instantly. Yeah. And then I decided that I'm not going to be the sober guy that has a boring life and doesn't interact and have a good social life. Yeah. So I purposefully, me and my wife, strategically, started going to parties. And I would put myself in that moment. I became the DD, and I'm still that to this day for every party we go. So we still go out and have a good time. So I didn't want to limit myself to, I'm a sober guy, so I've got to stay at home. Right. I want to have a full badass life, and I want to be around people that are having a good time. And just because I can't do that, responsibly, or younger Zach could not do that responsibly, then, I'm not going to let that hold me back. So Amanda was a big part of that. Amanda Nicole Cox is my wife, and we've been together for coming up on 11 years now, married. And she just loved me through every bit of it, dude. She saw me in my ugliest point. And my ugliest point, let me tell you this. Amanda came from trailer parks and addiction and the worst of the worst of the worst. And it's a miracle that she became the human that she became. When March 2nd, 2017, when she found a bag of methamphetamine in my jacket pocket, skull and crossbones, worst you could possibly. She found that in her home. And we had an infant, my youngest son, in the next room. That was my darkest moment. And she loved me through that shit. And then she's loved me all the way through. And so I'm going to spend the rest of my life pouring back into her, spoiling her. But she's been such a big part of it.
Yeah, love that. I know last time that we had talked, you said something that I really loved about the necessity of being selfish, which sounds counterintuitive. And when you first said it, I was like, that, what? But explaining it.
Yeah.
So
all right,
if you could go into that.
So I think that the most selfless thing you can do as a human is become extremely selfish with your own time. Okay. So every day my wife knows that I'm going to wake up and I'm going to spend some time reading. I'm going to spend some time meditating. I'm going to go to the gym for 1 or 2 times for an hour or 2. I'm probably going to go for a run at night. I'm going to do all these things that I need to do to keep myself sharp so that I can be the best human I can be for my family. Now, does that take a time away from my children? Yeah, it does. Does that put extra stress on her because she's got to get the kids ready for school? Yes, it does. But she knows, and she never questions it. She just says, she tells me, go get it all out. And so if I'm having all the emotions that us men have to deal with on a daily basis, and she can see it, and she's like, just go get it all out. And she just lets me go and do my thing. But I think focusing on yourself, you have to. Like, you don't have a choice because you're going to run yourself down. You're not going to be everything that your family needs you to be. So just give yourself the time and don't have any apologies. Like, just, you know what you need to be the best human that you can be. And give yourself that time every single day. And don't make bitch ass excuses. I can't stand when somebody says I don't have time. Like, if I have time, you have time.
Yeah.
We all have time. You can wake up a little earlier. You can do a workout in 10 minutes. You got gravity. So do some push-ups, do some air squats, do the things to get your heart rate up and make you a better human.
Yeah. Yeah. Excuses definitely, not being comfortable is people's biggest nightmare, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're biologically programmed to be comfortable. Yeah. Our genetics, that's what you want. That's when you're most at peace.
They talk about like especially, I think we were talking about earlier, like food in America. Is built to just kind of make you
pacify,
and then just like slug out. Just I think like the ratio, like some of the ingredients in our foods are illegal in like 30-something different countries.
Yeah,
and if you look at our population versus others, we're stagnant, we're obese, it's nuts how lazy and undriven most of the population in America is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a handicap attack for just being fat.
And you laugh, but we shouldn't. Yeah. That's the world we live in. Man. It's sad. I think a lot of that's going to change. Some of the changes that are coming. It's going to be good to see.
Yeah. But it's hard to make that first step is what, that's always the hardest one to make. Like that. All right, well, this is just what we're going to do. Because you're guaranteed you're going to lose some friends.
Yeah.
You're going to have to real close to them, like, no, the hell you're not. Stop all that shit. We'll be okay. Just come on back. It'll be just fine. And somehow you got to look at that person that you've spent the last who knows how long with and how long it's a good time with, be like, sorry.
Yeah.
Nope.
And you got to realize that the person on the other end wants to be comfortable too. So they don't want to change.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And if you are making yourself a better human, that means that they're going to feel guilty about not. And so you've got to cut ties with those people.
Yeah. If
they're weighing you down, you just got to cut ties with them. And I've never, not once, had a bad outcome. And I've never burned any bridges. I'm a lover. I am a lover. I love everyone. I've got people that should be my enemies that I love. So I never want to end a relationship on bad terms. But if it's not serving me, if it's not serving my higher purpose and my goal in life, then I don't have time for it.
Right.
I just don't. Because I've got one chance at this. I've got 86,400 seconds every day.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to let one of them slip by if I can help it. I'm not perfect.
Right.
But I try to be very mindful of that and live in the moment as often as I can. And remind myself of that every day. If you see my bathroom mirror, I've got more shit. He's saying it, I think. But I've got more shit written up there. Just constant reminders because I'm human, Yeah. And I always tell people, you got to remember. Just remember. Remember what your purpose is. Remember why you're fighting. Remember that you're not this. This version of you is not. You're 10% of what you can be.
There's a thing I've seen that, I'm about to move out of this house, move to another house. So there's a thing I'm probably going to adapt in that house. It's similar to like a vision board. So like I'm pretty rough ADD wise, but I refuse to take medication. Like I'm just not going to be hooked on Adderall.
That was one of my vices.
Zombie out,
Yeah.
But like there's this, but I've also got to, if I don't do some sort of tracking mechanism, I will just scroll around. Like I'll just, and we'll get a whole shit ton of stuff started, and then rush to finish it.
Yeah.
And then like at the end of it, I won't see the progress I think I see or I forgot. So like I saw this thing like a vision board, like the take a whiteboard and have these post-it notes and have a column of like shit that needs to get done. And then kind of have a column here of like how we're going to do it. Then this far right side column is progress.
Yeah.
Like, so you move these post-it notes as you go through the process, and you're just trying to fill up that right side.
Yeah.
Things move to the right side, and you're like, fuck yeah, look at that. And things just kind of, you have your plan on how you're going to execute in the middle, and then there's your, self-gratification over here on the right.
Yeah.
Showing, boom, 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 we did this.
Yep.
And, that's kind of something I think I'm going to adopt.
I love that. I heard Jordan Peterson say the other day, he said, always aim low. What he means by that is if you set some gnarly goal, then the chances that you can look at that and think that it's attainable, you can get overwhelmed with that.
Small wins.
Small wins. So aim low and just try to get a minor little win each day. 1% better every day.
Yeah.
You know?
I've always been a fan. Okay. No. I was going to say, I've always been a fan of like, when you set a big goal for yourself, break it down. Be like, what are 10 small goals I can do to make this big goal happen?
Yeah.
Actually, I heard that from like when I started running a long time ago.
Yeah. They're
like, hey man, you can run 3 miles a day, but if it starts sucking, just get to that light pole.
Yeah.
Then you're going to get to that next light pole.
Well,
and if you're just able to compartmentalize your focus to each light pole, or you've got 3 miles.
Yeah.
And maybe you keep pushing and hit 5.
Right.
I kind of hate to see like young people, like really young people in their early 20s, and either out of college or out of high school, just trying to start a career. Like, I'm gonna make $100,000 next year. Dude, you make $16 an hour right now.
Right.
Let's aim for 60 first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because odds are you're not going to make $100,000
Right.
this year. You might. I don't know what you got going on. You could, but most likely you're not. So let's go here and here, because say you rock along with this job, you start some side jobs, and then you don't even make 55. Fuck this,
Yeah.
This ain't gonna work.
Right.
Quit.
Yeah.
And then you
just give up,
yeah.
and you just go into a life of mediocrity.
Yeah.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is not saying, that's unrealistic. It's just asking the question of how are you going to do that?
Yeah.
How are you going to do that? And let's put it on paper and let's actually figure out the steps that it's going to take to get there. You can do that. Is it a year? Is a year long enough time for you to get there? Maybe, maybe not. But put it on paper and actually reverse engineer it and put micro goals along the way.
I think you also got to embrace some failure.
That's the most important thing.
You can't, say even these micro goals we talk about, say you still fail one, you can't let that knock you down 5 pegs.
And that's like our society's created this negative connotation around failure. Failure is a fucking step.
Guaranteed.
A step.
Yeah.
Like it is a step. I failed good. I learned something today. I learned something today. I'm going to get up tomorrow. I'm going to do it different. And I'm probably going to fail again. And that's okay. Like you don't have to have it all figured out the first time you do something. I created a real estate investment business, and I knew nothing about real estate investment. COVID hit, and I do medical sales. So they all called us and they said, hey, you can't go to any clinics. And I just built this house. And I was like, how am I going to keep the lights on in my house, And so I got on TikTok, and I just learned like enough to take my first step. Started creating some micro goals. Okay. Well, to flip a house, I don't even know how to swing a fucking hammer. So how am I going to flip a house? Well, I just reverse engineered it. And step 1 was create an LLC. Step 2 was go talk to an accountant that knows something about this. Step 3 was set up 10 meetings with people that have done this before. So I started calling friends. Hey, do you know anybody that's done this? Cool. Can I get their number? And then just having the courage to call someone and say, hey, will you sit down for a coffee? I know nothing about this. I just want to pick your brain. And then just slow steps. And you think I didn't fucking fail along the way? Every day. But we did 80-something flips in the first 3 years.
Gosh dang.
So we went full throttle. 5905 West 59th Street was my first property. And didn't have a clue what I was doing. When I pulled up this thing, I was like, I'm buying this. And I was like, really? I'm going to make money with this? But we did it. We just figured it out. I hired a contractor, and I went and developed some relationships with the bank, and just said, "Hey, what do I need to do?" People are always want to help you win. People in general are good humans, and they want to help you. It's all about you finding the courage to step out of your comfort zone. And I love that you said about comfort a minute ago. I want to go to this. We all live in this circle, right? We all live in this circle, and it's your zone of comfort. That's where we're most comfortable. But the only way that we can, and this circle is who you are as a human. And the only way to expand yourself is to get out into discomfort. And when you do things that are challenging, when you do things that are uncomfortable, when you do things that are hard, you can pull that little circle out just a tiny bit. And you do that again and again and again. And you fail and you fail and you fail. And you look up 6 months later, a year later, and you're a different human than you were before. And give yourself grace through the failures. You know?
Yeah. Love that.
Especially with the whole construction. I've been in construction my whole life. And you can also get in bed with some snaky folks, especially when it comes to residential.
And I've learned all those lessons. I've had some 20,000 plus lessons.
Yeah.
I call that paying my tuition. I didn't lose any sleep over it. It's just,
It happened.
Yeah, you learn a lesson. You learn a lesson from it. Or 20 lessons, whatever. But just take it as it comes. And I think living life without expectation is such a wise thing for men to do. Like, set your goal as gnarly as you can and know in your mind's eye, I'm going to get there. But what's that road going to look like to get there? If you map it out in your mind what that's going to look like, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And so you're going to hit these little roadblocks. It's going to go some other way, or, a business partner, does something and the business falls apart. Well, you still have the goal.
Right.
Like, just figure it out. Just step around it. Accept it. This is a failure, but it's not the end. And just learn from it.
Yeah, just physical stuff. I mean, Jeffrey's 800 plus pound squatter. I'm a 700 plus pound squatter. If you'd asked me 8 years ago, hey, do you think you'll ever squat 700 pounds at 198? Nope.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. But then, I think I want to do that.
Yeah. But how'd you get there?
Fuck.
Rep after rep, nutrition, all the things, it's just micro goals and lots of failures and lots of challenges.
Lots of days you're just I'm done with this shit.
Yeah. But then you just rinse yourself off at night and then wake up tomorrow refreshed and with that, that zest to get it done.
So for somebody who's not accustomed to failing, that they're scared of it.
Yeah.
How would you help them to get comfortable with failure? Okay,
so if I had someone that came to me and said they were, not used to failing, they were too scared to fail, I would tell them to go buy some running shoes and start running. Because running for me started a few months after I got sober. John Kennan, my heart bleeds for this man. He poured so much love into me over the years, but he got me into running. And what running has done for me is I've ran thousands of miles, done several ultras, done tons of marathons, half marathons. Every single time I go for a run, tonight we went for a run. Every single time I go for a run, I put on my shoes and I don't want to go run.
Right, yeah.
I put on, I put on my gym clothes. I don't want to go run. I tell my wife, I love you. I don't want to go run. I go hit the pavement. There's maybe 1 in 30 days that you were like, I'm going to go run today. And I was fucking giddy and shit. But most days you don't want to do it. And so your foot hits the pavement and it strikes again and it strikes again and it strikes again. And every fucking step is a rep.
Yep.
There's a rep in your mind that says, it doesn't matter what this internal dialogue is. That's my inner bitch talking. And I understand that. And that's okay.
Yep.
That ego serves a purpose. But it's not going to dictate where I take my life. And so running for me has been that. It's like, you're going to fail. Go out and run 20 miles today. You're going to find all kinds of failures. You're going to find all kinds of pains. You're going to have hip issues, foot issues. You're going to change all the different things. You have to change a lot of things as you go. And it's not going to look like you want it to look. So that's going to train you for, now go out and do life after you've had that experience. Day after day after day after day. It changes everything. Like for my 36th birthday, I wanted to do something gnarly. It was July, a few years ago, I'm 40 now. But I decided I was going to run 360 miles in July. And so that's about 12 miles a day for 30 days is what my plan was. Day 2 of that, I had a serious pop in my hip. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. Like that inner bitch is talking to me.
Day 2.
Day 2. Yeah. Day 2 of 30. And so I had to decide in that moment if I was going to first of all, I evaluated whether I really had an injury or not. Am I going to go out and do something stupid? And I realized that it was probably more mental than it was physical. And so day 3, 4, 5, I took it slow and I just, got through those miles, and it was a nightmare, but I did it. And then on like day 5 or 6, I started to regain my rhythm. But running like that month, all those moments through running, it's just taught me so much about life, and that life is full of, as men, we have to do a lot of things that we don't want to do. And the ability to do that really rapidly and with a good attitude is everything. It will either make you a very happy human, or you'll be depressed and pissed off at the world all the time. Yeah. And the same human can go down either road. You have a choice. You have to make a decision which road you want to go down.
Yeah. So, were you going to say something?
That was kind of so off what me and you were talking about last week. You went on that run. So, like, when, I don't know if he told you the story, but so y'all went on that 7-mile fucking run.
Yeah.
And I was sitting here with my daughter, and the weather was not great.
No.
She was kind of restless, and we got a pretty good running stroller, and I was like, well, shit, I'll go run a mile. And strapped her in there, got her all bundled up with a little rain shield on her stroller. We took off and hit the same little block, got in there, and she was giggling.
Having
she
the time of her life.
I was like, well, I'm not stopping in a mile. And so we just kept on rocking.
Yeah.
Did that whole look that we did today. And when he got over, I was like, so who's this dude that made me run a 5K today? So we did that. And I was talking to him, I was like, what's your hardest part of a run? And I told him, was like, the first 100 yards.
Yeah.
My brain thinks of 100 things I could be doing right now.
At least
I could be doing dishes. I could be doing laundry.
Take
I could be doing all these things. Like, something after that 100 yards, you just all,
yeah.
And then you just go.
Yeah.
And you just get quiet in your head.
And some days you might be doing 6 miles and you don't ever reach that moment where this is easy. But you just keep doing it.
Right.
And it's just one step after another after another. So I love that you said that. And that brings up an awesome point. Like, if you don't have the brotherhood in your life, iron sharpens iron. Like, if you don't understand that mentality and surround yourself with people that want to make themselves better and that push you to be a better human, you're selling yourself short. Like, we as men, we're tribal. We're supposed to get out and carry our fucking battle axe and go, kill and bring food home to our family and do all the things that we're, hardwired to do. If you don't have that in your life, you're missing such a big thing. So I try to create that everywhere I go. Try to create that brotherhood. Find like-minded people. Surround yourself with people that make you better.
That was a good time today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun.
So with, putting yourself in that difficult situation of, running, just taking the next step, is there a way to, because I'm like, personally, it's like, yeah, this sucks. Like, I don't want to do this. How do you, and I know you can do it, but how somebody that, isn't familiar with that uncomfort, how do you mentally tell yourself this is a good thing? Because, we're the whole time like, fuck this, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do this. How do you almost like brainwash yourself into like, no, this is good.
I'll give you 2 things. Number 1 is create a future me. Create a future me. And that's like a vivid image of the human that you want to become. So I've got a future me. I actually have a tattoo on my leg. I don't know if you can see it there.
Show it off.
But I've got this lion on the front of my quad.
Flexing babies.
And that lion represents me. And it's just a reminder to me to always chase my future self. So number 1, develop a future self. Develop the best version of you. And when you're out there in that moment and you're in the misery, you're in the suck, just put your eyes forward and see that version of you. And that version should elicit every emotion in you, all the powerful emotions of, self-confidence and pride, and like that you are your truest, best self. And if you see that image ahead of you and you realize that all I got to do is make it right there, then chase that motherfucker. Chase that motherfucker. Yeah. With every single fiber of your body, chase that motherfucker. I've been chasing Zack Cox for 8 years now, since I woke up, right? And the version of me that I saw when I first started I passed that dude up a long time ago. And I just keep recreating that version of me. And when I'm running and I'm looking at this tattoo and I'm thinking, all right, what's the next version? What's the next version? And then you will instantly have motivation out there because you know all the versions you already passed.
Right.
You know how far you've come, and you got all these people cheering you on, and you got all these people, all eyes on you, looking at you. Like, if you have the ability to inspire those around you, and you're not taking full advantage of that, man, you're selling yourself short, and you're selling the world short. But more importantly, you're selling yourself short because that's what the sweet spot in life is pouring into other humans. So develop that future me. I was going to say something else. What was it? 2 things. Man, I don't remember.
That's okay.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Yeah.
We'll leave that for the next episode.
Yeah, so next week, Sunday.
I have something weird that contributes to that in a way. So, like, directly with running. So, I used to be a recruiter, military recruiter up in Missouri. And so we had what's called the recruit sustainment program. So all these kids that are waiting to ship off to training. All right. And I don't know if things have changed. You never really know as you get older. They're always that way. Or if you're just old and grumpy now, look at it.
Yeah.
But most of them couldn't and didn't run.
Yeah.
So in the morning, we do PT, physical training, and we take them for a run. And I just got in a habit of the first thing I'd say to them before we got, in the formation and went for a run. It's like, check it out. Whether you are good at running, bad at running, whatever, doesn't matter. But this may be your first time running, but tonight you get to go to sleep knowing one of 2 things. You either gave up today or you tried. So that's not that. Like, I don't care if you can barely pick up your feet. You're not falling out of this fucking run. You're not walking.
Yep.
I don't care if you're a mile behind. We'll come back and get you. But your feet better be shuffling, right? I can promise you this run will be over at some point.
Yeah.
We leave today at some point.
Yeah.
This misery will be over at some point. But regardless of how long this takes, tonight you either get to go to bed knowing you gave up or you didn't.
The fact that you just said that, like, tonight as you go to bed, you'll know whether you gave up or not. Yeah. It reminded me of my second thing I was going to say. Okay. So create a future me. Reflection at night, self-reflection at night is the game changer for all of it.
Yeah.
All of it. Replay your day, replay your wins, replay your failures. At the end of the night, I usually read for about 2 hours, and then I self-reflect, and then I have like a meditation I do as I fall asleep. But that self-reflection is so critical because it allows you right before you go to sleep, and I won't get into this today, maybe the next podcast, but how to imprint on your subconscious mind. Right before you go to sleep, you are quickly rehearsing, replaying all the things that happened that day. The wins, the failures, all the things. When you go to sleep at night, all that information is going to get stored. And your subconscious mind, if you play it right, will store all those things, but it will give you insight when you wake up in the morning. Now, you got certain brain waves that fire early in the morning. And if you place all those thoughts in your subconscious mind right before you go to sleep, a lot of times when you wake up and you feel this creative energy, right? Those answers to whatever issues you were having the night before will come to you. I've had some of my most life-changing thoughts come to me first thing in the morning because I reflected the night before. So develop the future me, develop a clear image of where you want to take yourself, and then reflect every day so that you can, find the answers to the questions and the problems.
Yeah,
that's great.
For somebody who's like new to all this, do you think it would be beneficial to write those things down as opposed to just?
It's whatever you're going to continue to do. So I've always had a difficult time putting pen on paper. And I hate to even say that out loud because it does so much good for so many humans. So I don't want to say that you can do this without doing that. Because I think it's an important part for a lot of people. Now, do I do that? I do not. But I'm religious. Every 7 nights a week, I'm reflecting before I go to sleep. So whatever works for you and whatever's going to keep it fun, keep it interesting, not burn you out, not make it boring, not make it a chore, like whatever works for you. Yeah. There's no certain playbook for this. Like, you got to figure it out, and you look to men that have done it the right way, or men that are on the path farther ahead than you are, and you see the way they do it. And if you can apply that exact same thing in your life, fantastic. But if you just take a little bit from him, a little bit from him, a little bit from him, create you hold the fucking pen.
Yeah.
So you're going to write your own story. Just take a little bit here and there and make it whatever you want it to be. And if that includes journaling all those things at night, journal them down if that helps you. But if it becomes a chore, don't do that.
Right.
Pick another way.
I like it.
Love it.
What are some athletic achievements I know you talked about ultras and marathons. Give us a couple that you're like, this is one of my coolest. Like if you had to build a top 3.
All right, I'll tell you my coolest. So I'm 40 years old. Last July, I turned 40. My wife and I had our 10-year wedding anniversary. It's a big month for us. So as we're approaching this anniversary and my 40th birthday, every year for my birthday, I do something big for me, something hard for me, and something challenging. So I decided to take her to Marco Island, Florida. It's like on the west coast of Florida. It's a little island. It's 8 miles around. And so that was where we're going. And I needed to do something hard for my 40th birthday, and it fell right in the same week as our anniversary. So I said, babe, I'm going to take part of this time of our trip, and I'm going to do something really hard. She's like, fucking go for it. So I decided I wanted to do 40 miles. I'd never ran 40 miles before. And so I got on Facebook, and I looked up Marco Island Running Club, and I talked to some of the locals, like leading up to this. And so they gave me some advice on like where to get fuel at and things like that. And so leading up the couple of weeks before, I planned all my little food stops. So whenever I went to do this, I had ice chests set up at these different churches around the island. And so the day comes for the run, and July 8th of 24. And the day before, I had this pinch in my right quad, and I was like, or my right calf. And I was like, oh, this might not be good. Amanda was like, do you think you need to postpone it? And I was like, no, like, this is my birthday. Like, I need to do this for me. It's not for anyone else. I need to do it for me. So, so I'm 39 still, July 7th. That night, we go set up the ice chests around the island, and I take off. And I'm half a mile in, and I realize that my calf is not okay. Like, I'm not okay. I knew it was partially torn. I knew that there was a chance that doing 40 miles was going to tear it more. But I decided, I've come this far. The reason I do these things is to make myself better. And it's not about the physical feat. It's about what I'm going to get here. So I kept going, one step at a time. I heard that woman from the marathon, the pink fucking joggers, echoing through my brain. And so I did one step at a time, right? And that night was one of the most magical moments of my life. This island is a wealthy island, so the whole thing kind of shuts down around 9 p.m. And it's me out there, and there's stars above me, the ocean's on my right, and there's all these nice real estate on my left the entire time I'm doing these laps. And I'm in pain. I'm crying. My wife calls me. My wife actually sends out a mass text to all these important people in my life that have poured into me over the years. And I started getting phone calls. Dude, I started getting these texts, and I'm just hobbling along. And just another thing about this island is I'm a spiritual person. I feel this weird connection to certain animals. Crows are one thing. I don't know why. Call me crazy. But, another thing is owls. Like owls, I feel like I have this connection to them. And I didn't know this until I got there and started this run. But this island has a big rabbit population. So naturally, there's all these little. They're like small. I don't even remember what type of owl it is, but look it up, Marco Island owls. There's all these little small owls, and every light post around this whole island has a little perch on it. These owls will sit up on. And so as I'm running and I'm turning 40 and I'm in pain and I'm in misery and I'm in my head and I'm out of my head and I'm in my spirit, like all these owls are coming to visit me, swooping down over me. Just one of the coolest nights of my life. So finish up the run. One of the hardest things, probably the hardest physical thing I've ever done, but I did it. And I was so proud of myself.
Do you remember how long it took?
Well, about 9 hours.
Oh my gosh, that's insane. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I felt amazing. It took a couple of days to heal up. I actually had to go to a physical therapist to get my calf fixed, but he did it. He did it. Derek Lagerman is his name. He's a physical therapy institute in Benton. He's got several locations, but he's a magician. So if you have any injuries, give him a shout.
Love that.
So what with that? Were there like ebbs and flows over that 9 hours where kind of like your mind was like taking over? You're like, I'm good, and then just
I mean, any run, you're going to be 2 or 3 miles in, you're going to get the stride. So I was maybe 6 miles in this night, and I started to numb up, and it was like I can get through at least a marathon.
Yeah,
and so got to mile like 13. I remember mile 13. My wife met me. She parked the car, and I told her, look, my calf is killing me. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need to stretch it out. I couldn't get the right stretch. And so she lays me back on the concrete, and I'm laying there, and I've got my leg up in the air. These cars are driving by, and she's just sitting there pushing it out. And this is just my fucking ride or die wife. Like, she is out there with me in the suck. And she looks at me and she says, Zach, you can fucking do this. And that, God, it triggered something inside me. And I just got up and I kept hobbling. And mile 26, mile 28, mile 30, and I'm just like in agonizing pain. But I don't give a shit. At that point, you just don't give a shit. And then, you hit little bursts of, okay, I feel good for a minute. And then that mile passes. And you're like back in Mexico. So there's a couple of gas stations over 24 hours that I stopped in. Walk in, I'm in booty shorts and no shit. I'm just ripped up, just like, they're like, what is this dude doing? Is he some tweaker or something? And so I would talk to the gas station attendants and just tell them what I'm doing and tell them why I'm doing it, and man, I had some good conversations that night. So just connecting with humans and just, I don't know, man, it was just cool.
That's awesome. 40 miles.
I did 41 actually.
Why not?
I did 4. I got to the 40-mile mark, and then I turned back for half mile. One for my future self.
There you go. God, I love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Love that. That's amazing.
Dig it.
Well, what else you got?
We always ask some funny questions.
What's
So like we had an episode we just found this nutty shit.
Yeah.
And one of it's like a go-to thing is and you've probably heard this before. So say you're at the end of a hallway. Or it's like some room, double the size of this. And they just start stacking in 4th graders and they want to kill you. How many can you take out before they finally get you?
Oh man, probably 300 or 400 for sure.
I think it's just kicking.
It depends. Like, I don't know. It depends on which 4th grade. They're like my son, who's 8. He's a freaking savage. I probably wouldn't take 15 of those.
Yeah.
But he's got a beautiful heart, but he's a wild man. So I don't know. It depends on the caliber of the 4th grader.
Yeah.
I could probably take out a couple hundred for sure.
The other one, me and Jeffrey bounce off people. Is like, so you're going to a dinner at your favorite restaurant of all time. So it's you, and then you pick 4 other people, dead or alive, through all history. Who's at that dinner?
4 people. My wife, but she's been with me through it all, so I want her to experience all this with me. John Kennan, because he's been one of my closest ride or dies through every step of my journey. Trying to think of which humans I would want there. Maybe Mother Teresa. Respect the hell out of her. Mother Teresa once said, if you truly want to change the world, go home and love your family.
Yeah.
And I had that on a painting above my dining room table, but it's so true. If you truly want to change the world, it starts in your house. Like, if you're not doing the things in your home that you're supposed to be doing, then you're not going to influence anybody to create a better world. So, number 4 would be, I don't know, probably my dad.
There you go.
He's an incredible human, and he taught me the power of hard work and how to love unconditionally. And he showed me what right looks like in a marriage. And so that's me. That's it.
Sweet. Our other running joke on this thing is do you think you and 7 of your buddies could fight a grizzly bear?
No, yeah. I could pick two that I think that's 3.
It's not unachievable.
Yeah, no, that's doable. Sure.
Greg Hartwick tells me there's no shot.
I love Greg.
Like, he's telling me, Eric, you're stupid. There's no shot. Grizzly bear demolishing. I said, I think we got it.
No,
we
sure.
get a plan and we figure it out and we take it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's me or the grizzly, and I'm not going down without a fight. So.
It's gonna hurt. But I think
We can take them out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is, with no weapons.
no weapons. They're just hands
7
on in the
dudes.
woods.
Going at it. I think it's possible. It's not probable.
You're taking losses.
Yeah, you're taking losses. Like you want a fat killing team that the Bears going to spend some time on.
That's part of the team.
Yeah, that's part of the strategy.
Yeah.
You gotta have a fat.
You gotta have a decoy.
Yeah.
But 7 people.
Well, we try to keep these right about an hour. We've noticed that people start losing interest there. We definitely want you back on. Appreciate your time.
Man, I love being on. Yeah. Anytime.
That was a killer run we had up the yard 5K.
That was fun. Good way to start it.
I've never ran with someone that knows how to run, so I just listen to your feet.
Yeah.
And even our stride lengths are a little different, but I just listen to your feet.
Yeah.
And it definitely helped me to pick a cadence and stick with it. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you having me on today. I think I learned something from each one of you. I hope that my words today, the message that I brought, it's not about me, it's about the message that I can pass to you. So I hope that each one of you can take something and apply it to your life.
Yeah.
And remember, action is everything and the only thing.
Yep.
So if all you do is hear my words and don't know anything about it, that's on you.
Right.
If you apply at least one thing, if you have a question about it, you don't reach out to me on a text or a phone call, that's on you. You hold the fucking pen, get to writing.
Yeah. Well, cool.
That's a way to end the fucking podcast
Awesome.
right there.
All right. Episode
yeah.
14. See y'all later.
Toodaloo.